Hey everyone, welcome back to today's video. To make any system reliable, you need two things which need to work together. First, a proper alerting infrastructure, and second, meaningful alerts which you can respond during a failure. Most teams get the infrastructure part right. They set up Prometheus, AlertManager, they connect it with PagerDuty, and the whole pipeline is up and running. As a next step, you start writing the alerts. And this is where slowly and without anyone really noticing, a pattern starts to develop. You get paged for an alert, you look at it, and from your past experience, you judge that this is probably going to auto resolve. Maybe it's a temporary or expected CPU spike, or maybe a short network blip. So you acknowledge the alert and go back to your work. Then another alert fires, auto resolves, then another one. And it keeps on repeating over a period of time and slowly becomes a habit. So most of the time you stop reading the alerts properly, you just acknowledge them and move on. And then one fine day you receive an alert, acknowledge it without looking into it properly, which is eventually an actual problem with your system or service, result of which your users are impacted. An alert which was supposed to let you know about a broken system has been ignored due to the noise which it has created in past. And that is what we call as alert fatigue. And it is not a dramatic failure. It does not happen overnight. It builds up slowly over weeks and months. And by the time you realize it, the damage is already done. And this is one of the most common problems in the industry across enterprises of different size, different tech stacks, and different domains. So in this video, we will understand what actually creates alert fatigue, what are the common patterns that teams fall into when they are writing alerts, and we will understand how to write an alert correctly. So without any further delay, let's jump into the video. Now, before we talk about how to fix this issue, let's understand what actually causes this issue. The problem is not about caring about the problem. The problem is how teams are approaching while writing their alerts. The first and most common thing, what the teams write alerts on the things which are easy to measure, not on what actually matters for the users. What do I mean from that? So when you are setting up your monitoring, you look at the metrics which are already available, like your CPU usage, memory, your disk space, network bandwidth, and you start writing alerts on top of those. Means CPU goes above 90%, alert it. Memory goes above 85%, alert it. Disk usage crosses 80% or 90%, alert it. Now, these metrics are useful. There is no doubt about it. But a CPU spike at 90% does not always mean something is wrong for the user. Maybe you have a batch job which is running every night. Maybe there is a deployment which is in progress. Maybe it's just a temporary load spike which will come back to normal after 2 minutes. All this metric fires, but nothing is actually wrong from a user's perspective, or nothing is harming from the user's perspective. If you have written the alert around it, in this case, your engineers are still getting paged. They have checked it while they are on call, but there is nothing wrong. And they have just acknowledged it, went back to their work. And if this keeps on happening, then the engineer starts treating the alert as a noise. And that is the first cause of creation of your alert fatigue, which is infrastructure alerts are not the user impact. Now, the second thing is that the thresholds are set once, are never revisited. What do I mean from that? Let's say someone has written an alert and sets a threshold, which was making sense for the system while it was written for the first time. And then the alert just have stayed in the system for a long time. 6 months later, the system has changed, the traffic has grown, the service has been added, deployment patterns has been changed, but the threshold which was set in the initial configuration is still same. So the alerts start firing more frequently with higher load and higher traffic. And nobody is really questioning it because nobody remembers why we chose that. Nobody is thinking about it. And that's what creates the second type of problem, which we call it as static threshold. The third and the more technical thing in the alert fatigue is known as your raw counter problem. And it has to do with how the alert expression is written. It is not about the behavior and the strategy of the writing of the alert. It is more over of the alert expression which you have written. What happens? A lot of teams write their alert expression on the raw counters when they should be using rate-based functions. Let me explain with an example. Let's say if you are writing an alert on error counts and you use a raw counter in your PromQL expression, that counter only goes up and it never decrements. What it means, let's say this is something called as your raw counter where you don't have any rate or anything. So when you are using the raw counter, whenever the error count is increasing, that particular error rate will be only jumping. It will never come back to the normal time. So in this case, if you have written in this this type, then your alert will be keep on firing, and that will create a noise eventually. Now, for example, let's say your application has processed 1 million requests, and out of those requests, you had 50 errors. Now, in this case, your counter is at 50. Now, after some time, your application will be completely healthy and the traffic will come back to the normal, but the counter will be sitting exactly at the same point, which is 50, and it does not go back to zero because you have written it as a counter. So if your alert is directly looking at the counter, those 50 errors happened sometime in the past can still trigger your alert for the full day, even though there is no current problem with your traffic. And this is where your rate comes into the picture and becomes very much useful. So when you use rate in Prometheus, you are measuring how frequently those errors are happening over a specific time window, something like this, what we write. And once that error rate comes back to the normal, your alert also resolves automatically. So if you are writing an alert for something like error rate, request rate, or similar continuously increasing counters, you generally want to look at the rate of change instead of raw counter value. Otherwise, you can end up paging someone for a problem which happened in the past and already has been resolved, or it can create noise significantly. The fourth thing about the noise or the alert fatigue is alerts which are written without an owner or without a runbook defined within the alert expression. Let's say a alert is firing at midnight and it is saying that high error rate. Simply, it is just saying high error rate for service XYZ or whatever. There is no runbook, no owner, or nothing is that, no dashboard link, and nothing telling the engineer what to check first and who they should contact within the particular alert which is in file. The engineer now has to figure out everything from scratch. Whoever will be picking this particular alert without an owner or runbook, they will acknowledge it. They will do whatever they want to do randomly. Nobody will be fixing the issue or not finding the root cause because nobody actually owns the alert or nobody knows who owns that particular service or the overall alert. So if this is happening continuously, then there will be a serious problem of alert fatigue will be creating across your organization or across your services. And these are the main 4 things which we need to look at while alerting on infrastructure metric instead of looking into user. Now that we understand what is creating an alert fatigue, let's understand how to actually write an alert without making any fatigue while it is firing or while it is going to the production. I want to show you a before and after picture of an alert expression because I think that is the cleanest way to explain this before exaggerating or making you or spreading negativity about alert fatigue. And let me first show you how exactly a bad alert looks like. So this is before, you can consider, and this is after. So here, if you can see, there is just a alert name. That's it, nothing else. And there is a expression with raw counter. There is no rate or anything is that. There is no severity label. There is no for duration is not there. Nothing is there. Now, if this alert is going to the production and it is whenever it is firing for high error rate for criticality, then whoever is getting this particular alert or getting paged for this alert, they will not be knowing which service particularly it belongs to. They will not know what is the actual user impact for this. They will know what exactly to check whenever it is firing. They will not know whom to contact for resolving it immediately. They will also don't know where to look it in Grafana or any subsequent dashboard for important metrics or whatever the current spike or current trend is particularly looking. What they will do is they will start from absolute zero and they will have a critical alert, which could mean nothing if the alert is written in this way. So this is a classic example for bad alerting or creating alert fatigue within your production. Now, let me show you what exactly a properly written alert looks like. So this is something which I have taken out, and most of the industry also follows same principle if it is written with AlertManager and Prometheus. Now, if you see the difference here the alert name itself is explanatory, which is checkout service high error rate. And this alert itself will tell you which service and what exactly the problem is. It's a very properly written. Now, when you see the expression, it is again very well written. Here you have used rate function instead of a raw counter. So it is normally measuring how frequently errors are happening over a period of time, not just some cumulative count which was happened in the previous alert. Now, it is also scoped to the production environment. If you see, very importantly, not some staging or dev or whatever. It is very specifically written for production environment and to checkout component specifically. This is the component checkout, and it is very well written, which means you are not getting noise whenever it is firing. You exactly know which component, which service, what is the alert, and which environment it belongs to. Now, the second thing is duration for 10 minutes, which means this condition has to be true continuously for 10 minutes before the alert fires. And this also removes a huge amount of noise from brief spikes whenever it is happening in the production. So in these labels, you have the owner field set. Here you can see who is the owner, and there is a component also mentioned in this label, and the severity is also importantly defined over here, not warning or anything. It is critical. So when this alert will fire, you know exactly which team needs to look at it. And in this case, your payment team, which has to do, you can either redirect the pager to that particular team, or you can contact them directly if this is written in this way. Now, then in the annotation field, which is this important thing you have to look is the summary, which is written over here, which is very nicely written. So here where you have the description, which is nicely written with a variable, there is a Grafana link, there is a runbook link. And I think two things which you should always be part of the production alert is this particular runbook and the owner. Who is the owner? This is non-negotiable thing. It has to be there within an alert whenever you are writing. Without this, if your alert is going to your production, then it will definitely going to create a noise. So these components has to be there at least while you are writing. And this is what we call it a proper alert which gets shipped to your production. Now that we know what is the difference between a good alert and a bad alert, and what are the common fields which at least you need before shipping your alert to the production. Now let's understand, if you don't have all these things and you are writing a alert for your service, which are the things which you should bring to your mind before writing it. Because a alert is not about just an alert expression and some of the important fields. It is more ever about understanding your user behavior and your impact, so that it gets notified and alerted to the right people at right time. Because writing an alert is not just about the YAML. You need to understand the service before you write a single line within your alert. The first thing which you need to understand is the normal behavior of your service before you set any threshold. Like, what does the traffic look like at peak versus what is the peak hours which can happen for the service. The second thing you need to understand is that what are the error rate fluctuation happening, whether it is naturally happening or it is happening during the deployments, things like that. Or you have to understand, is there a batch job or cron which is scheduled that will create load at predictable times within the range or not. You have to understand all that thing. So these questions you need to understand. If you don't know this, then while you are writing, you will end up setting up a threshold which is either firing at the wrong time, or either firing too often, or completely missing a real problem while it is occurring. So spend some time on the Grafana dashboard for that service. Look at the historical data, understand what normally actually looks like, then set your threshold against that particular baseline. The second thing which you need to understand is always go for your expression to the right environment and the right component. So if you write a generic expression without adding environment labels, your production alert might start firing because of issues in dev or staging and things like that. Always segregate your dev and staging alerts from your production alerts and route it to the proper channel when you are shipping it to the production. And always add environment and component selectors to your PromQL expression, like something here, and ship it to production with your proper PromQL expression for your alert. And this one change alone will reduce a lot of unwanted noise while occurring in your production. Now, the third thing is your duration, or for, which we call. So this is very important to make, because if you are setting it to 1 minute, then maybe a short spike in your service or short spike in your traffic can cause the alert to fire very frequently. But if you set it to 2 hours, let's say if you are setting it to 30 minutes also, it will be taking a lot of time to fire that particular alert. Eventually, that would have caused the damage to your overall system. So set this particular duration properly by judging your service and understanding the traffic for a periodic time. Now, right value always depends on how quickly this particular problem needs a human response. For some time, for something user facing or critical, 5 to 10 minutes is a reasonable starting point. But if it requires very frequent, then you can adjust accordingly. Very importantly, always think about your failure mode and set the duration accordingly. The fourth one is about the description annotation, which is over there. And it is very important to have it rightly. Write it as if you are explaining the situation to an engineer who has never seen this alert before and has just been starting to take the things in the middle of the night. Always tell them what exactly is happening, what the likely impact on the users, and point them to where they should start looking. And use template variables like labels, value. So the description which is coming out within your alert is dynamic and reflects the actual state of the time when the alert is firing. The fifth and the final thing is to always leave a proper comment while defining a threshold or defining a proper alert. understand or make the user understand why that value was set and what are the circumstances and what are the conditions which were met before setting this particular thresholds. And this is the most common problem which teams make, because most of the team, they don't follow it. And but if it is being used, it is genuinely useful, because 6 months from now, when someone is trying to tune that particular alert and trying to understand whether it is still relevant or not, they will have the context which they need before setting the threshold. Without that one comment, no one will know if the threshold was carefully chosen based on data, or if someone just picked a number because it was just felt right. So the commenting in the alert is very much important. Choose it and write it properly before defining your alert or shipping your alert to production. So before we wrap up, I just want to quickly recap what we have just covered in this video. We started with what actually creates an alert fatigue. Then we looked at common patterns teams fall into while writing the alerts, how you can write an alert properly. And finally, we understood the simple mental model that you can apply whenever you create a new alert. Because at the end of the day, the goal of alerting is not to create more notification. The goal is to make sure that when an engineer is getting paged, they know that something is breaking and it's worth looking at, and know what to do and where to start. So if you found this video useful, then share it with the people who are writing alerts on your team. If you have a specific alerting scenario in your environment that you want to talk through, drop it in the comments. I would love to read and discuss on the same in the thread. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel, which is Built in 10. We make videos on SRE, observability, platform engineering, and cloud every single week. With that, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.